Scientology destroys the mental health of its members. And that is practically by design. You could say that Scientology is basically practicing medicine without a license. And they are offering cures that they have no ability to bring about for their people. 1 in 5 Americans will have some kind of mental illness any given year. A lot of them have anxiety. That's a huge one. Depression. And the thing is, Scientology claims to be the modern science of mental health. Scientology claims to be the place where they will straighten you out. They will help you with all of your issues. But one thing about Scientology is that they're all about self-control. They're all about the mind controlling and suppressing the emotions. When we know that mental health care and Scientology imposes a kind of robotic way of being on its members. You are supposed to be in control. But the fact is, we are not in control of our emotions, and that's okay. And emotions are a beautiful part of life, but there are emotions that are stuck that do need to be dealt with. Now, I'm not saying that you will not process any stuck emotions if you do Scientology. You probably will. Something has to work in Scientology, or else they wouldn't get new members. They wouldn't get members to stay and fork over all their money to the cult. So obviously something has to work. But most of what works within Scientology comes from traditional psychology. And most that works also comes from a hodgepodge of Eastern religions and Buddhism, things like that, and New Age kind of self-help concepts, as developed more back in the 50s and early 60s, that L. Ron Hubbard kind of took these things, put them together, and claimed to be the place to deal with your mental health issues. But history has shown, in cases like the Lisa McPherson case, where she was locked in a room to do what they call the introspection rundown. When somebody freaks out, they are locked up in isolation, one of the worst things for your mental health. And Lisa McPherson died after being in isolation, starving, and was found with cockroach bites all over her body at the time of the autopsy. Scientology does not know what they are doing when it comes to severe mental health issues. So why are they so dangerous? Well, number one, because they will punish you by their worst punishment, which is disconnection, which is like excommunication, if you deal with the psychiatric establishment. If you go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, you are either out of Scientology or you are right on the line of being out. So the fact is, you can't go for help where the help would be effective. Now, I am not saying that traditional mental health methods are perfect. In fact, there are a lot of problems, and there always have been, since the time of lobotomies back in the day to now over prescribing medications and not doing enough talk therapy psychotherapy. But the thing is, there are problems that can be solved, and severe mental illness oftentimes does require medication, no matter what your beliefs are about medication. So, Scientology puts that entire realm of potential healing out of the range of its members, and they are not allowed to do it. So, they are not allowed to do it to the extent that they are threatened with potentially losing their entire family, their profession, their social network. And if we know anything about mental health, we know that taking away somebody's money, the people that they love, and their entire social network is a really bad thing for mental health. Scientology will threaten you with things that could destroy your mental health if you go and get alternate care, which is really standard mental health care. So I would urge you to be aware about this issue and that Scientology is actually putting its members' lives at risk. And this is serious. This is no joke. Scientology is a menace to people with mental health issues. So why do they join in the first place then? Well, number one, they join oftentimes because they never have really talked to a therapist. And usually Scientology gets you at a low point in your life, in your development, in your emotional existence. They get you at a time where somebody close to you has died, or where you've gone through a rough breakup, or a career change. When you are despondent and reaching out, you know, a drowning person will grab on to razors if they think that those razors will keep their head above water. They'll deal with the bleeding later. Scientology is that razor blade that is offered to the drowning person, and grabbing it can be almost instantly fatal, or it can lead to a slow bleed out. And most people in Scientology for the long term are bleeding out slowly. Look at their faces. Look at how they run when anybody films them. Look at how they have to hide from friends and family back home by not being filmed. How they wear masks when nobody else is wearing masks in the area. Scientologists live in an isolated prison of fear. Each one of them not able to share their feelings with any other Scientologist, let alone any of us dangerous, suppressive persons on the outside of Scientology. Scientology is a huge risk for anybody with even slight mental illness issues or emotional problems, because they will lure you in with something that seems realistic, with something that seems to help. And they might even give you the first deep conversation about you and how you feel that you've ever had. You know, a lot of people, they don't really have friends that they can talk with about their feelings. They don't have family members that they can do that. They are isolated. So they go into Scientology, And there's somebody who can talk about these feelings and who assures them that they will help. And so then what happens? They join, and in the beginning, it's all great, and they get their gains. That's what they call it in Scientology. And the thing is, at the end of every session, you have to say what your win was. What did you gain from this? And you're not done until you give a positive answer to that. So you talk yourself in to thinking that you are healing, that things are getting better, and you're being love bombed by everybody in Scientology that's encouraging you to spend more money, take more courses. And by the time that you start realizing that you're in a situation of seriously diminishing returns, well, by then it's too late. Because oftentimes now your whole world revolves around Scientology. They have absorbed so much of your energy, they have monopolized so much of your time, and they've taken so much of your money that you feel like a fool if you quit now. It's the sunken cost fallacy. It's like, well, it's like when you're waiting for a bus and the bus is 10 minutes late, you feel like, well, I can't leave now because if I leave now, the bus is going to show up right away. I have to use this time that I've invested in waiting for this bus and not lose it by walking away. That's what people do at casinos. I need to spend more money so I can win back what I lost, and then you lose everything. Well, that's what happens in Scientology. You end up losing everything because the further up the bridge to total freedom you get, the more money you're spending and the more bullshit they're teaching you, and the less it works to help your mental health, and the more it works to destroy your mental health. Scientology is not an answer for anybody with mental health issues. And for anybody without mental health issues, if you ever wondered what it would be like to have mental health issues, Scientology could help you find out because they're going to put you through so much crap that you probably will end up with mental health issues in the end. Be careful about Scientology and realize that although the psychiatric establishment has many, many flaws, as do most psychologists and therapists, it's nothing compared to what Scientology would do to gaslight you, to shame you, threaten you, and destroy your mental health. That's the truth about how Scientology destroys the mental health of its members. Thank you.